It's dangerous to podcast alone.
Have you ever noticed that I don't really say the word and welcome? It's hello and the welcome.
That's just how people talk. We slur together the words that people assume are there.
Wow, thank you for Oh man, that was embarrassing. I was going to try to say linguistics, and my brain just isn't working. Thanks for the lesson, Emma.
You're welcome.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the podcast. It's a side quest week, which means we'll be talking about what we've been playing for the past 2 weeks and giving all sorts of what we think are short, but probably are actually a moderate length thoughts on a variety of topics.
Yep.
So, why bury the lead? Let's jump in. Emma, I have no idea what your answer is going to be to this question. What have you been playing the last 2 weeks?
Nothing notable, you know.
Yeah, Emma has not played any video games the past 2 weeks at all.
Yeah, not played anything, no. So, in case you missed our extra episode last Tuesday, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out on Tuesday, and I finished it yesterday. Since this is Sunday, I finished it yesterday. So, took me about 30 hours. So I played about 6 hours a day.
That's unbelievable. I mean, it's not unbelievable. I'm jealous. I wish that my schedule allowed me 6 hours where I could play video games guilt-free.
It didn't feel like I was playing it. That feels like a long time I was playing it. I don't think I played like 6 hours every day. Like, I think I played a long time on some days, such as Friday, where I possibly stayed up until almost 2 in the morning. Because I have no self-control.
Is your television in your room? Or is it in the common?
It's in my room.
I was worried that you had been at a TV in the common area playing Kingdom Hearts for like 10-hour stretches.
No. That would have been concerning because by the end I was like both hysterically crying at the same time for most of like the last 5 hours of the game. So it would have been awkward to explain. But yeah, we did like a list of rankings of the games, and I don't think it's just the glow, but I think that Kingdom Hearts 3 easily tops my list as a favorite Kingdom Hearts game so far.
I just read an article on Forbes where they were like, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a technical disappointment.
I'm sorry, what?
They were just like obsessing about the frame rate and the resolution, and I was like, how dare you?
Okay, there's a couple of points where the frame rate is a little weird, but I switched it from smooth to stable, and it looked better. Like I think the smooth is just, it's 60 FPS and it's supposed to be for your high-powered consoles. But yeah.
Yeah, well the 60 FPS has caused major issues on the ports before. Yeah. I watched a whole video about it, about how it like messes up some fights.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that into it. I'm not a speedrunner or level 1 player, so that doesn't really matter to me. Like, I like the Birth by Sleep fights, which I know speedrunners despise. So, yeah. But I really, really enjoyed it, and it's beautiful, in my opinion. Like, every aspect of it is incredible. And there's something really satisfying about defeating big bosses with your pirate ship attraction.
Word.
But I mean, other than that, I also played some of Tales of Vesperia. I was trying really, really hard to finish it before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and it just kept going. So I have probably another like 5 to 10 hours left of that, I'm thinking. So I guess I'll go back to that next. I want to maybe explore a little bit more. A couple of the worlds I really liked, but I was too excited about what was going to happen to really, like, run around them. So I might go back to Kingdom Hearts 3 in a couple of weeks and just, like, dally around or whatever. But take a little break from it, from my marathon.
That's cool. Yeah, so, listeners, we won't be talking about any real details from Kingdom Hearts 3 probably for at least the next month.
Yeah.
Just because... You know, for one thing, will it take me that long to finish? With the way the world treats me, it's not impossible.
Yeah. I imagine we might be talking a little bit about gameplay and what worlds are there. So if you're someone who's like avoided all and any trailers and has somehow not gotten around to it yet because you like living dangerously, we might be talking about like that stuff if you consider that.
Emma has already told you that there is a pirate ship in the game.
Yeah.
So you probably haven't made it this far. You probably, if you're that kind of a purist, you probably heard pirate ship and you were like, nope.
Yeah.
Pause, delete.
I specifically mean the attraction flow pirate ship.
I know that, but wow, that was another spoiler. Attraction flow.
I warned them before I started going, okay? I warned them.
Maybe they had more trust in you than you thought.
But like, I thought particularly the Disney worlds were like so much better realized in this game than in all the others, and not just because there's NPCs.
I was disappointed that there was no acknowledgement of the fact that previously when there were dance sequences, there was no one around. Like, when I reached the point of the game where there was a dance-inspired sequence, I was like, it's disappointing they didn't, like, acknowledge that the tradition is that dances are between two people and two people alone.
and three people standing awkwardly to the side while the two people dance.
I would have liked it if Sora had been standing there and been like, I don't want to interrupt the festival. And then they kind of threw him in there. There's been some really delightful... So I guess I'm talking about what I've been playing now, right? Also, I have also been playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I almost said Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 3 is not like a phrase yet that I feel like I can say.
Yeah.
But I've also been playing Kingdom Hearts 3. It's an interesting balancing act here because as an adult who is not in school, not that Emma isn't like super busy all the time, of course.
Yeah, I just got my work done real early so that I could do this.
But my amount of time that I have to sit in offices and classrooms and such is a little bit higher on average than Emma's. And my morning start time for when those offices and classrooms starts is also, I think, on the whole, a little bit earlier. So, like, me staying up till 2 a.m. while I'm tempted to do it would be a bad idea. And, frankly, would force me to keep Josh in the kitchen until 2 a.m., which is rude. So, yeah, it's been an interesting
Just get him a blindfold.
I know.
One of those sleeping masks.
It's been an interesting... That's a good idea. An interesting balancing act here, given that there are two of us who are playing the game for the first time. And because, you know, it was mine first, I'm playing through sort of quarantined with our TV so that I can get ahead. So I've played about 10 hours of the game at this point. I also think it's really great and lovely. There are some extended points where it's like, I would appreciate if there was a save point. I mean, you claim you can save at the gummy menu, but I think that's a lie.
You can. You can save on the world map. Also, if you just warp, you can just fast travel to any world you've previously been to.
I know, but that, I don't know. Okay, well...
And you get to see a bonus Instagram when you do that, so why wouldn't you?
Clearly, I have been miscalculating, because... I have to always feel like I have to fight the final boss of a world, do the gummy level, and then fight the intro fight in another world before I can save, which is kind of messing up my schedule a little bit.
Because I distinctly remember saving on the world map because I was like, I want to save before this. So.
Well, I'll test it out next time.
Just like, you have to go through a couple menu options, I think. But
yeah, I've played about 10 hours. Clickbait Boyfriend has played like 3 or 4 hours or so. I'm playing on Proud. He's playing on Standard. And I've also discovered that he's a lot better at finding the Mickey albums than I am.
Well, that's good, because he has to find more. So.
I know, but, like, I'll go to an area and Goofy will be like, I think there's a lucky emblem here. And I'll be like, where?
That's happened to me, too. Usually it's when Sora's pointing them out, actually. He's like, oh, I think that's a lucky emblem. I'm like, where, Sora, where?
I know, and I'll get my camera out, and I'll just kind of, like, scan around and hope it'll light up yellow. Of course, it never does. So, we'll see how that goes. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Similarly to Emma, I also was really trying to finish Persona 5 before I got Kingdom Hearts 3. But, again, it sort of just kept going.
Yeah.
I really thought the Mementos thing, I didn't realize it was going to be... sorry, so spoilers for the end of Persona 5, sort of, here, I guess.
She's been going through, like, the whole story of Persona 5 over the course of, like, a year and a half, so...
Not a year and a half, just a little over a year, like a year and a month at this point. So, I didn't realize it was going to be, like, a whole floor of Memento, like a whole dungeon level, palace level.
Yeah.
Under Mementos. I also didn't realize, has Caroline always been able to heal you and, like, fully restore your SP at the front of Mementos?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because she's doing that now.
I think it's just because it's so long.
It's really helpful. Yeah.
Probably, like, a failsafe in case there's, like, those players who have, like, done none of the Mementos who don't get stuck there.
That's fair. So we're very close to the end there, I assume, but I've sort of had to take a pause, while I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I'll probably try to finish it before I play Kingdom Hearts 3, because, to be frank, I feel kind of bad that I have to, and my boyfriend keeps telling me not to feel bad, but I still feel kind of bad when I'm like, go sit in the kitchen for 3 hours while I play Kingdom Hearts. So it's like I have pretty limited free time, and he's like, why don't we hang out and spend time together? And I'm like, why don't I spend time with the PS4?
It's only fair.
And why don't you cook me dinner while I do it? He did literally do that today. I was like, I'm gonna play Kingdom Hearts, and he made dinner for the week. So
there you go. Things
are rolling well, just fine and dandy here at Talk This NYC HQ. I think that's pretty much all that I've been. I mean, this week I have exclusively played Kingdom Hearts. Last week I was playing a fair bit of Persona. I think that's just about it. No. Duh, I played 0.2.
Oh, right, yeah.
Completely forgotten that at this point. We both played 0.2, so I watched kind of the opening cutscenes of Kingdom Hearts 4 times in, like, a day and a half.
Isn't the Simple and Clean remix for that, like, so boppin'?
It's kind of sick, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, beginning part, yeah. I could rock to it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, it's hard to discuss that after talking about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Right? But, there'll be I'll talk about it on the traffic report. There'll be a Clickbait Boyfriend blog on it. Someday. Anyway, speaking of the Kingdom Hearts series, let's roll on over to the weather report.
So, this weather report, which probably would make more sense if Madelyn was announcing it, but she took a pause there, so
I thought you were going to ask me the question.
The likelihood of whether or not Madelyn will accidentally spoil herself on Kingdom Hearts 3 before reaching its conclusion. And I think the better question is whether I will accidentally spoil you in my excitement, a la Harry Potter Book 6 style.
I was wow, let's not bring that up. That was not accidental. That was pure malice. And don't try to sell it as otherwise. Don't try to rewrite the story just because we're on the podcast.
Sora's the Half-Blood Prince, Valid. Oh no.
The Half-Blood Prince is...
Sora.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Harry Potter world would be sick.
It would be, sort of, except that everyone could cast magic.
It's true, but that Sora would just fit in.
Well, bring on the Warner Brothers. Man, The Onion had a good one about Kingdom Hearts 3 where they were like... there was like some... I can't remember what movie studio, but it was like there was going to be like an Air Bud world, and like it was like some like kind of weird esoteric movie studio, like Touchstone Pictures.
Yeah.
Anyway. But
but like when I finished it today, I had to like spew what's at someone, so I spewed it at Madelyn. I don't think I was spoilery except for the fact that Nomura is Nomura, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think you're gonna accidentally spoil me because I'm moving through the game at a decent clip.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do think I'll be finished in the next 2 weeks, and you'll be fine.
I need to be careful, like, because sometimes you'll send me texts about your experiences, and I just have to make sure I remember exactly where you are or clarify before I make comments.
Yeah.
So.
I was worried when you sent me that article about the gummy ships, because
I read it first.
I had seen that article posted places, and I was like, this looks funny and probably safe, but I can't risk it.
Yeah.
So I've taken, not extreme, but, relatively extensive precautions. I've deleted Twitter off of my phone. So that
That's good, yeah.
So I don't get the, like, so-and-so retweeted, Xehanort is the Prince of Darkness. Mickey Mouse is the king. Crazy how that happened in the Fox and the Hound world. Or whatever.
I had muted, at least, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 on our Talk Biz Twitter. So.
I know, but there were still plenty of tweets about the series that I would see scrolling through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't I mean, I was not super concerned about me looking at Twitter. I was more concerned about, like...
the notifications, yeah.
The notifications, or seeing something in the comments on a tweet, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I've been avoiding Twitter. I don't watch that much YouTube anyway, but I've been avoiding YouTube. Like, my boyfriend said to me while we were walking today, he was like, yeah, like, I saw the secret movie on YouTube. And I was like, what? I mean, he didn't watch it, but,
yeah.
Like...
No, of course it's on YouTube.
I think the likelihood of him accidentally spoiling himself is pretty high. But my worry is, okay, so I'm not worried about Twitter. I'm not worried about YouTube. I'm not worried about, like, Instagram, because I don't really, like, scroll through the Talk This Instagram very often.
Yeah.
And I'm not super worried about Facebook. I do know some people who are playing or have already finished or whatever, but I think they all know better than to, like, spoil it. But what I'm really worried about is, how Google Chrome now does suggested articles for you on your phone?
Yeah.
So it has already been doing its darndest to spoil My Hero Academia for me.
Yeah.
It's like always saying, like, Izuku's new power revealed. And I'm like, okay, I can't click on this. Like...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does that to me too, like, things happening in the manga. I'm like, well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So it's always trying to spoil My Hero Academia for me. I've resigned myself to, like, those weird headlines. But I am really worried that it's going to suggest an article that's like, isn't it crazy that, Goofy ended up eating Xehanort's face?
Oh, god damn it. You got spoiled on that?
Isn't it crazy that
That's
Donald
an iconic
had to
moment.
literally eat Xehanort's brain in order to prevent himself from being Norted?
Yeah, these spoilers are intense.
So I'm worried. I mean, I'm just trying to spit out one so no one can, like, email us being like, you spoiled the game if I, like, accidentally happen on something that's true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm worried about Google Chrome doing me dirty. So I need to stop scrolling down to those suggested articles, but sometimes there are interesting articles, and I get bored.
I mean, I think, like, in terms of, like, internet use, like, the fact that we post about My Hero Academia so much is probably what's causing it to come
100%,
up there.
for sure.
Yeah, and we haven't really posted about Kingdom Hearts as much.
It is still trying to, like, it'll be like, how to unlock the Kingdom Hearts secret movie from Kotaku or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know that those sites are not going to put spoilers in the headlines, but I'm concerned. I do sometimes read Clickbait Boyfriend or whatever, or just Kingdom Hearts I mean, you know what? Google knows. Google is, like, watching me.
Google
and
is
Facebook
everywhere.
is watching me. So they know that I'm playing Kingdom Hearts. Amazon has told them.
Amazon has told them.
So it's just a matter of time before the corporate overlords decide to spark some joy for themselves by stealing my joy.
Well, I will be crossing my fingers for you.
Thanks. Me too, believe me.
You just gotta move through it at a snappy pace.
I'm doing my best. I'm putting aside more time than is really a good idea.
It's always a good idea.
I know, but there's work to do, and it's starting to catch up with me, so I'm just gonna play more Kingdom Hearts and not think about it.
Exactly. Perfect.
So is it time for the off-topic corner?
It sure is time.
So in this week's off-topic corner, we're going to be talking about the Oscar nominations, which came out sometime in the past 2 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about this yet.
We definitely
I think we talked about the Golden Globe nominations.
We definitely haven't talked about the Oscar nominations because they came out in the past 2 weeks, and when would we have talked about them?
Fair enough, you're right.
So I'm sort of counting on you to carry this segment because I've seen just about 0 of these movies.
I mean, me too. Of the Best Picture nominations, I have only seen Black Panther. Which I guess says something about me. I've been kind of wanting to go see The Favorite. I think that's one still in theaters. But also, like, I don't want to see it intensely enough to take the T over to Boston Common and go to the theater. You know?
Word.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, you know, we saw an animated movie. We saw Into the Spider-Verse.
That's true. You could watch Roma on Netflix if you want.
Oh, is it on? It is a Netflix film, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's foreign language, though. I mean, that's fine, but...
Wow, you,
I have to be in the right mood for, like, a long foreign language thing.
You xenophobe.
I'm not being a xenophobe. I did... in animated features, I also saw Mirai, which I really liked. It's the first animated film from Japan that is not Studio Ghibli to be nominated for an Oscar. Fun fact.
That is interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting collection of nominations. Although no female directors, or cinematographers, I think.
Well, of course not. Women don't make movies.
But it's interesting because, like, it wasn't last year. Like, for a couple of years, they, like, restructured. They, like, brought in lots of young people.
Yeah, no, they
right?
did that. I think after that whole Moonlight debacle. Or, no.
It must have been
before
Oscar
So
Moonlight.
White happened was. It was after that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been Moonlight year because Moonlight was nominated and won.
Yeah.
So, that was just Oscar's kind of white year, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's looking like, whatever. That's like Bohemian Rhapsody has been doing really well at all of the
such a weird
awards.
choice, I feel like. I
mean
I like Rami Malek, but
I know.
like,
but everyone I know who saw it was like, this is disappointing, and also, why are we supporting this?
Well, they did fire Bryan Singer.
Right. But, like, they fired him, like, 2 weeks before shooting was over, right? So, I mean, I realize his name's up.
Partly they fired him because he was never there.
That's,
so.
Like, but apparently that's, like, his MO. Other than, like, even apart from, like, everything else, which is a mess there.
Yeah, I just mean, like, how much of the movie did he actually touch in the end? I mean, I know his name is still on it, but... Yeah.
I get that, but again, it's like, you know, I mean, even apart, like, even if you're gonna, like, come up to me and be like, I don't believe any of these things that he is alleged to have done, which I think you'd have to be in pretty extreme denial to do that, but even if I'm gonna grant that I can't prove that any of that happened, he's still known for just, like, not showing up to set and being late and just being incredibly unprofessional. Yeah. And I get that he's worked on some hit movies, but it's just, even on that level, it's kind of unconscionable how he would just keep getting hired and keep getting hired and hired and hired again. Yeah.
I mean, that I remember that situation, like, happening when I was making, because I was, like, sort of following it, because I liked I need to catch up with Mr. Robot. It's been a bit, but I really liked Mr. Robot. And so I like Rami Malek a lot, who is the actor who plays Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. And I remember that situation happening. Apparently, like, just everybody on set, like, really despised him, which is a good sign, I guess, for the general working populace on that movie. But yeah, that's a big mess. But mostly I've just heard that it's like a mediocre movie.
Yeah, it's
like,
mediocre.
I mean, you know, it making a biopic when like the people are involved is always hard. I mean, no matter who those people are, because like not Freddie Mercury, but all the other members of Queen were pretty heavily involved in the making of this, which is like, you know, like obviously it's fine to not want like the cleanest picture of yourselves and of your friend possible, but it doesn't make a very interesting movie at
yeah,
the
it's
same
interesting
time.
because it's, I mean, you know, again, I feel like you can do that. I don't have a problem with this in theory with a biopic, but it's interesting because a lot of stuff I've read was like, no, it's like they made it seem like he wrote a song about this, but that's not really what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of recontextualizing everything, which again is fine. I don't think that there's an obligation for movies about real people to necessarily be 100% real. I think that that's kind of a silly thing that people force on these historical movies all the time when, hey, it's art. It's not a history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting that it's mostly a story, seemingly, about their bandmate who is dead. And they're messing around with his story and like his ways that aren't true.
Yeah.
It feels a little less tasteful when it's literally people who knew this person who are twisting the story as opposed to like an independent artist.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, Green Book also seemingly has been doing relatively well so far, right?
It's leading it has the most nominations, I think.
Yeah. Which again, it's like, I haven't seen it, but I read a lot of the press about it. And it's just like,
in that one, it's the kind of the opposite. It's the guy that Mahershala Ali plays, who's, because I haven't seen the movie, I can't remember what the guy's name is.
That's fine.
But his family is like, this is not what it was.
Well, they were just like,
instead of like the people who knew him like meddling in the movie, it's people who knew him being like, we weren't asked about this movie and this isn't right, which is interesting.
It's astonishing to me that you're able to do that they're able to be like, nobody asked us about this at all.
Yeah.
And to have the movie be made.
Well, I don't know specifically what it is, so I don't know if like nobody asked them or they just didn't listen to them or something. I don't know. But basically they think that it's a misrepresentation of this guy's life.
Well, obviously.
I've also seen things that's like, adapt any other part of this guy's life and you'll have a more interesting movie.
Yeah. And then there's the whole thing there, which I don't know. I think this might have gotten blown a little out, but the whole thing with Viggo Mortensen. Oh man, that was not good. The whole thing with Viggo and his like N-word debacle in an interview doesn't help in a movie that then sort of weirdly sidelines its black character.
Yeah. It's a very weird, torn in two directions sort of movie list for Best Picture, it feels like. Like, there's a lot of, like, young, progressive type stuff, and then you get a lot of, like, old hand Oscar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, like, you get stuff like Roma and The Favorite and Black Panther nominated, but then you also get, like, Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book and A Star is Born. So it's very split, in my opinion.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes down.
Yeah. It'll mean nothing to me until I can maybe try to see a couple more of these movies. But, you know.
I just realized it's also the Super Bowl today. We could have talked about that.
I went to Trader Joe's yesterday, to go shopping. And there's a line out the door because it was too small and too many people were trying to buy their Super Bowl snacks. So, fun fact, I had to go to Whole Foods, which was more expensive.
Nice.
That's my life story.
All right, Emma, introduce the traffic report for me.
Traffic traffic report.
Becomes more like a dying robot every time.
I live in Boston. I don't really know what things sound like. I ride the T.
Nice. So this week, the traffic report has been a little bit erratic the past couple of weeks because I have not been posting on the normal schedule for Clickbait Boyfriend because I've been too busy playing Kingdom Hearts, basically, and also working.
Yeah.
But what we do have from the past few weeks is 2 editions of Split Screen, where it's been sad on Boys Over Flowers lately, and it's been sort of back to a little more fun, I think, in some ways. Less serious, more like, we're all goofy kids on My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting juxtaposition. We also have a Clickbait Boyfriend on Kingdom Hearts back cover, which, is pretty short and sweet, but he thought was funny, so that's really the mark of a good Clickbait Boyfriend, if Clickbait Boyfriend approves.
Yeah.
There'll be a new one coming soon on 0.2, and then we'll sort of start rolling on the Kingdom Hearts 3 ones. I figure I'd give people a couple weeks to play at least the first part of the game before we start rolling out his quotes. And also, in non-regularly scheduled blog content, Emma posted 10 Thoughts in 10 Hours, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Mm-hmm. So you should definitely check that out.
Yes, I managed to get that done. I did manage to play this done before Kingdom Hearts Fever hit in. I'm about halfway through it. It'll be out this week.
How many times have we said that on the show?
I know, but I'm actually halfway through it now. I have 6 minutes done.
I believe you. Okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
There's not really anything else too much on our social media. I don't think, unless Emma's been tweeting about Kingdom Hearts and I haven't known it.
No, but we should still follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talk This Podcast.
And on YouTube, where you'll see that playlist that we're talking about, Talk This Sisters. While you're at it, if you like the show, why don't you subscribe? We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and coming soon, Pandora.
Woo!
Yeah, we're excited about that one. So I'll give you the deets when that's up and running, but you'll find us on their podcast suggester program, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
But pretty much wherever podcasts are found. Also, if you listen on a more indie venue than any of those. Mm-hmm. So subscribe while you're there. Throw us a rating, a review. That means a lot. And if you liked the content we were talking about on the blog, that's www.talkthispodcast.com. All right, let's wrap this thing up with our question of the fortnight.
Now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is out, this question that feels like sort of an obvious question for a lot of things, but would never be particularly interesting before on this show, because we'd probably just answer Kingdom Hearts 3. But now that it's out, what now is our most anticipated game coming out in the next few years?
The next 3 years?
Few years.
Okay, I was like, that's a weirdly long, specific time frame.
No. The next few years.
I have one, but you can go first.
Well, if you have one, you can just go ahead.
Crash Team Racing.
Oh, fair enough. You're right.
No, well, that one because I have a real release date and I've actually seen stuff from it. Maybe Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for the new Fire Emblem that is apparently coming in spring of this year. I feel like we haven't heard anything about it since it was announced at E3, but that's fine. The Last of Us Part 2 should be coming out in the next couple of years, which I am excited for that. Yeah, I think those are the major ones.
I'm excited, sort of anyway, at least for Animal Crossing, whenever that comes. I liked Stardew Valley so much that I feel like I could get back into that Animal Crossing kind of world.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm curious to know what Persona 5R is.
That's true. We came up with a lot of great ideas a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
So yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are plenty of games I'm going to be excited about that I know nothing about because I
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sort of excited for that.
I guess so. I won't even ask you if I'm going to see the Final Fantasy's characters in this game.
Yeah, don't ask me.
What?
Don't ask me. You saw a Cactuar.
I did see a Cactuar. They've been talking about Bahamut, which I think is hilarious on a number of levels. Yeah. But I'm sure the games that I'm actually going to enjoy the most, I'm not even going to know anything about. They'll just be like random games we talk about on the podcast that I end up playing and really liking.
Yeah.
So that's been this week's side quest. Thanks for listening to Talk This.
It's Dangerous Podcast alone.
I know that was kind of an unclear. That was like a bad set for you to spike. It was kind of wobbly. I tried to do the upward inflection at the end to make it clear, but it was too little, too late.
It's too little, too late. You're right.
And next week we'll be back with a full episode where we talk about an old game and a new game.
Of some kind.
Our old game threshold has now technically reached 2009. So if you've had suggestions that you've been sitting on because they were released in 2009, well, why don't you submit them to the hat? We need a few more games to fill it out. So new games, old games. Should we put Kingdom Hearts 3 in the hat?
Probably. Because we haven't talked about Kingdom Hearts enough.
Yeah, it's true.
On this show.
We should probably put kind of a moratorium on Kingdom Hearts after, like, this month for half a year.
That's impossible.
True, that's true.
Who knows when they'll start doing trailers for whatever crazy title installment they'll have next.
Kingdom Hearts 5000. Well, thanks for listening, folks. I'm going to get back to Kingdom Hearts 3. But you have a week where you play that video game till 2 a.m. if that's what sparks joy for you.